ESPN. At the half end, Miami with the Hurricanes in control over FAU 20-3. On Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week. Well, Miami had plenty of opportunities in the first half. Some drops and a dropped interception. When they got rolling, they were tough to stop.
They really were. They got the football to the best player on the field for both sides, and that's Duke Johnson. He did a tremendous job of catching the football, and then watch the little hurdle over the defender of FAU. He goes 53 yards to make it 10-0 in the second quarter. But he had a changeup back for Miami. You can't let Duke have all the fun. Eduardo Clemens, he pitched in, spelling Duke. He was tough between the tackles. He was able to bounce it outside, and he set up the 16-yard touchdown pass from Stephen Morris to Clive Warford, the tight end. So the running backs, the 1-2 punch of Miami, really got it done in the first half. Nearly 200 yards on the ground for Miami, 111 through the air. FAU has been held to 108 total yards. They had one really good drive that ended in a field goal. Miami's defense, much maligned last year, has come up with 3 sacks and held the Owls to just 3 yards per play. Miami will have a chance to start on offense here in the second half. Philip Dorsett is back along with Duke Johnson, who's only been on the field once in special teams. Remember, Dorsett returned a pair last year. This is Dorsett, 1.5 yards deep, bringing it to the Miami sideline. Tried to get one guy to go by him, and he only brings it out to the 10. Sherrod Niesman with the stop. Last year against Florida International, they lost their discipline. He said that game became the Dade County All-Star game. Here's Duke Johnson right through the middle and out to the 19-yard line. Brandon Bryant with the stop after a gain of 8, we'll call it. Stephen Morris hands off to Johnson. Blue shirts there, and he gets turned inside by Keith Reeser. So if they're going to sell out against the run and bring the cornerbacks up and run support, what's the next play for Miami? That's when you dial up number 4, Mr. Philip Dorsett, and you try to get him behind coverage, either on a dig route or that skinny post route. Especially if you see Keith Reeser, he's probably the most talented of the defensive backs. If he has his eyes in the backfield, Philip Dorsett will run right by him. Here it is, 3rd and 3. Looking out of the backfield, now over the middle and intercepted. Picked off by Andre Kirk. And Florida Atlantic gets that big break they were looking for. That's the first interception. I'm not so sure that Stephen Morris and Philip Dorsett were on the same page. It looked like Morris wanted to throw the football to the outside to go somewhere else with the football. Looked like he wanted Duke Johnson, but Reeser comes off the coverage. Dorsett stays in the window on the outside, and that's just a bad decision by a veteran quarterback. You want to throw that one over your running back's head, Duke Johnson. If you don't like the look, throw it away. First pick in 157 pass attempts for Morris. He was only 5 attempts away from moving into the ACC top 10. Jacquez Johnson back on at quarterback, and he hands it off on first down. Florida Atlantic with his best starting field position of the night. We're looking at a second down from just outside the 16 off the carry by Jonathan. William Dukes in motion for FAU. A bullet incomplete. Dukes was the intended receiver. Thurston Armbrister 7 for FAU after the interception. Miami shows blitz, backs off. Little swing out to Wallace. Wallace inside the 10, inside the 5. He's got an Owl first down. Jonathan Wallace, but what we've seen has been very impressive catching the football out of the backfield. Quick tempo again. Wallace right side, stood up at the 2. Stopped by Denzel Perriman. 2nd and goal coming up. Here comes that tempo and pace from FAU on offense. Even though they're substituting skill position players, they want to get on the line of scrimmage and run the next play. Michael Harrop was one of the big receivers they brought in. He'll be in the backfield along with Wallace. 2nd and goal. Quarterback keeper lowers his head, moves the pile, and just outside the line is Johnson. Olsen Pierre is there, first man to
I'd
hit.
look for him to call his number again.
They stack it up inside. Movement on the left side. DeAndre Williams, fifth-year senior from Orlando, started every game last season.
5-yard. Still third down.
But a costly mistake on 3rd and goal.
Tom, that can't happen.
Johnson pumps, looks right side, now wants to tuck, and he runs out of room, stopped at the 3-yard line. A couple of big stops for the Miami defense near the goal line. Another stop for Olsen Pierre.
Terrific discipline on defense by Miami. No one bit on the pump fake. Everybody stayed in coverage. They were looking for blue jerseys in the back of the end zone. Jacquez Johnson couldn't find anybody, and he did the smart thing. Just tuck it, get what you can, and let's get some points off of the turnover.
20-yard attempt for Mitch Anderson. Tough angle, high snap, and he bangs it through. A couple of field goals for Mitch Anderson in this Owls offense, and it came courtesy of a rare Stephen Morris interception. That set it up, and we're setting up to visit with an FAU and Miami legend. Howard Schnellenberger will be in the booth when we return. Florida Atlantic with the interception leads to a field goal. It's a 20-6 game, 10:30 to go in the 3rd quarter. Well, tonight they're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the first of 5 Miami national titles. It came against Nebraska in the Orange Bowl in 1983. 84 to be exact, but the 1983 season. Howard Schnellenberger was the head coach of the Canes in '83. Carried off the field by his team. A freshman quarterback, Bernie Kosar, led him, and he's in here with us tonight. I know this is a special night for you. You're part of one program. You birthed another in Florida Atlantic. Tell us about your emotions on a night like tonight.
Well, my emotions are wonderful to see this game finally come together. Something I thought about years ago, but only late recently this thing came together. But to have this kind of a intra area game is going to be terrific, and it's going to be played for 4 years. So three more games, 3 games in 4 years. So it's going to be a major impact on this community, and great for college football, particularly in South Florida.
Touchback for Duke Johnson and Miami. Here's some of the footage from earlier today and at the half. You guys didn't need to run through the tunnel, but you walked through, and I thought this was really special. Not only the '83 jersey, but you didn't have a national championship crystal ball, so Miami had one made for you. Did you have a national championship trophy in '83?
Yes, we did, but it was some other type of trophy that still sits down at the University of Miami. But this crystal ball now has been the approval, the championship trophy. And it's wonderful that now this team can have it.
1st and 10 for Stephen Morris and Miami. And play action from Duke Johnson. A little dump pass that will go for a big gain and a first down for the Canes.
Coach, you really transformed the way the University of Miami recruited way back when. You put that picket fence around Dade County and Broward County and West Palm Beach and went after your own. And it's really changed the way Miami and FAU, FIU, the entire area recruits in South Florida.
Well, it became obvious that we couldn't continue to win with what they had done before, and that was go up to Ohio and Pennsylvania, and there we were sacrificing all the great players here in South Florida. So we made a concerted effort. I took 9 coaches and didn't send them any place except in the 3 lower counties, and we got to know them better than they know themselves. Started to know them as sophomores, and once we started getting these kids to come together, once we got the ones that committed to us and played for us going out into the community, to their high schools and to others, and encouraging those boys that if we can keep all the good players from, it ended up being up to Highway 4.
Right.
And if we can keep those players, 17 of them a year, then we can play against anybody in the country. We already had the schedule, the best schedule in America. We already had the stadium, the Orange Bowl, the Grand Old Lady. And the only missing element was getting the good players right in our own backyard together and form a brotherhood, kind of like a union, that we were going to keep all these guys down here at home.
On 3rd and 1, Duke Johnson takes it past midfield and picks up the first down. That night in the Orange Bowl, the 100th Orange Bowl game, was legendary and set so many things in motion. First of all, for Tom Osborne and his decision to go for 2, it kind of solidified his character in going for the win and not playing for the tie. It also kick-started everything at Miami, obviously. How would the game be different today if Tom Osborne would have sent out the extra point team?
Well, he sends out the extra point team. We would obviously block the field goal, and we would have won another way. And as Bernie Kosar pointed out so well, if they would have kicked that extra point, we still had 30 seconds and 3 timeouts, and we would have probably gotten the ball and moved it down and kicked the field goal and win it anyway.
Art Kehoe pointed out, he's on the Miami staff now, that if you hadn't left after that 1983 season, you're talking about 7 or 10 national championships. What about what was rolling and got rolling at that time?
Well, we left Jimmy Johnson and 57 freshmen. The best recruiting class we ever had was the year before we won the national championship. And the second best was the year after we won the national championship, because I didn't leave until after spring practice and after recruiting. So with that many players in line that had 4 years and 5 years to play, plus Kosar and Testaverde, who were redshirt sophomores, that was the beginning of the dynasty, and that dynasty is the greatest one that there's been since World War II, or maybe ever.
Coach, how proud are you tonight to not only see the players from 1983, but to look across the field and see FAU with fielding a team and playing a competitive football game in such a big arena in such a short time, a program that you built from scratch?
Let me first say emphatically, we are indebted to Donna Shalala, the president, and the University of Miami to agreed to play this series of games, 3 games in 4 years, with the top 10 football team in America over a lot of years, and an upstart team. So this gives us the opportunity to demonstrate that we are on the uprise, and but it's going to be a big impact on the fan base here in South Florida.
You know what's lovely about it is that when you use the term "we," you can be talking about two great programs. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Congratulations on what's been a fantastic week.
Thank you. Take care.
It started with a trip to the White House to honor that Super Bowl championship team with the Dolphins, and it ends here tonight with Miami and Florida Atlantic going head-to-head. More coming your way from Sun Life Stadium with the Canes leading by 14. Ball back to Florida Atlantic after that touchback, after the drive stalled for the Canes. Jaquez Johnson in a quarterback, and he wants to dial deep into coverage. Wow, incomplete. Duke's got his hands on it but couldn't haul it in. Rayshawn Jenkins had the loose coverage downfield.
And that was an accurate football down the field by Johnson, not known for his strong arm, but that hits William Dukes right in the helmet. You've got to go up and attack that football. Don't let it beat you up or get on your body. That was a perfect throw, a big play opportunity for William Dukes, probably the most talented receiver on the roster for FAU, and he just doesn't come up with the big play.
Owls have only thrown for 53 yards so far tonight, using 3 different quarterbacks. This is Wallace. Wallace still chugging, trying to stretch it out, but Luther Robinson was there.
Tom, it's tough to come back and convert plays like the one that was missed on first down.
Got a Miami question for you after this 3rd and 15.
All right, bring it on.
Johnson pressured, got away, throws on the run, caught at the 25, short of the first down. That's Jensen Stoshak. Well, my question will wait. Let's go down the field and check in with Brooke. First took notice of it. Another boomer of a kick, driving Dorsett all the way back for a Willie Mays catch at the 15. Dorsett to the sideline and steps out of bounds. Wow, that is a heck of a night. Leading by a pair of touchdowns against FAU. Duke Johnson in the backfield with Stephen Morris. Johnson accelerates into the line and picks up 3.5. Corey Henry with the stop.
Tom, you mentioned the offense not getting in sync, and it starts with poor decisions from quarterback Stephen Morris. Anytime you throw the ball late and over the middle, bad things happen. No separation on the outside from Herb Waters. That leads to the offensive line possibly breaking down. So right now you have to have your veteran leadership at quarterback take over.
This is Alan Hearns, brought down by an ankle, and he still is able to find a few more yards. Christian Milstead with the stop. You know, I was going to ask you moments ago, you talked about surely they're not good enough to play through those kinds of mistakes next week when Florida's in town.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Florida will have a game under their belt, and that's a good football team that likes to play the way Miami does. They want to play physically up front. Guys, you can't do this in coverage against Florida. You need to make this catch next week. This is the perfect teaching reel or disc or DVD now for Al Golden.
And here's the reverse into the hands of Herb Waters, and Waters is running free. A beautiful cutback by Waters, and he's in. It started with Duke Johnson and ends 63 yards later.
Tommy, I think they're back in sync. That was a beautiful piece of running by the sophomore Herb Waters. Terrific job of making that cut around the 20-yard line that propels him in the end zone to push the score to 26-6.
Duke Johnson is injured for Miami. The play started with Johnson taking it to the right side, and then they ran the reverse, and he is to his feet, and that is a huge sigh of relief for the Canes.
Well, he tries to throw a block after pitching the football to Herb Waters, and that's where he got hurt. Watch his head and see if it hits a knee or a helmet there. He stays down after throwing the block, but the run by Waters was spectacular, 63 yards. I know it counts as 6 points, but more importantly, number 8 is walking off the field on his own power.
So here's the message to Duke Johnson. Don't throw a block.
There's other people on the roster to do that, Tom.
Extra point is good from Gudis. Johnson will get some extra attention. 19 carries for a career high 187 yards for Duke Johnson. Miami in control. By the looks of things, all is good with Duke Johnson, and all is good with Miami's offense after that reversed by Herb Waters, a 63-yard touchdown that was started by Duke Johnson.
I know Al Golden, the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, was breathing a sigh of relief when he saw his star running back walk off the field.
Owls will take a knee. Here's another look. After he gets rid of the ball, he throws a block. Hey, it was a good enough block to take 2 guys out, and then it was a cutback by Waters at about the 20.
That's the move that gets him into the end zone. But if you're James Coley, the offensive coordinator, I think the new play is pitch and get out of the way. Don't worry about that traffic behind the play, because Waters has so much speed, you're not going to be able to catch him from that angle anyway. I mean, that's a blazer. That's one of those sprinting, those speedsters that going down the rail, you're not going to catch Waters.
Martese Jackson in the backfield next to Jaquez Johnson. Here comes the blitz. Away in time for a completion to Melvin German III. German came out of spring as the #1 quarterback, but he suffered through a sore arm and struggled with his consistency, so they moved him to wideout. They needed more reps for Johnson and Hankerson. German threw for more than 3,000 yards at Pearl River Junior College in Mississippi. This is a 1-yard completion to DeAndre Richardson, defended by Casey Rogers.
Tom, that was one of those. Try to get somewhere else where he can make an impact on this offense.
Quick tempo for FAU. They dump it out of the backfield for a medium gain to Nixon Dorvillis. Waters. Look at that haircut from Waters. You know, that's got to be a today haircut. With an 8 o'clock kickoff, you got plenty of time to see your guy during the day and still get here in time for kick.
Well, Tom,
not like a noon. You can't do that with a noon kick.
I was just glad it was an 8:03 kick for you. I know you had to go, you know, get nails and hair and everything. You know, 8 o'clock's a good time for you.
Yeah, Manny Petty. Got to squeeze it in for those noon ones.
That's right.
From the 14-yard line, this is Dallas Crawford, and he is gang tackled and thrown all the way back to the 5.
In the direction too, Tom. He's been able to pin Miami back directionally towards the sidelines.
21-point lead for Miami. Dallas Crawford is now in a tailback. Play action, and Morris will roll the pocket. Fires on time to Herb Waters, and Waters another first down. All right, we got 3:27 to go in the third quarter.
We've seen Eduardo Clements get in and be that change-up back that you need.
Morris, incomplete. Well, if his night is over now, Duke will finish with 187 yards rushing. That's tied for 10th. McGahee in 02. This is Dorsett to the sideline, and they just got him by his shoelace. Keith Reeser with the tackle for FAU.
That's one player that really hasn't been able to get on track tonight is Philip Dorsett. He's so explosive on the outside, and it just didn't seem like he was on the same page tonight with Stephen Morris. Even on the under routes, Stephen wanted to go inside, Philip was in the outside zone. The deep route, the ball was up the field, Philip Dorsett was maybe across the field. So this is something they're going to work on for next week's game against the Florida Gators.
Movement on the right side. Chantrell Henderson, the senior,
Before the snap.
the U, and has battled through injuries. Morris, let's go, incomplete. Looking for Hearns, knocked away by DeJohn Smith.
Well, that's a terrific break on the football by Smith. I think there's room for improvement. I definitely think there's room for growth. Stephen Morris is going to have to demand more from his receivers, but go back and remember those drops earlier in the first half. Those are touchdowns, so you have to count those in as well.
Pat O'Donnell gets away a good kick. Lonis is tripped up at the 15-yard line. And so Florida Atlantic will take over, and Duke Johnson took over.
Duke Johnson was spectacular tonight. 38-yard reception to open up the game for the U. He broke off runs, long runs of 30-plus yards. Here's the 53-yarder up the middle. He hurdles the last guy in a blue jersey, and no one's going to catch Johnson in the open field. 6 games with 200-plus all-purpose yards tonight. 224, and last year he broke the freshman rushing record of 947 that was held by Clinton Portis. He held it for 13 years.
First and 10 for FAU. Martese Jackson, 5'6" senior from Asheville, North Carolina. Stopped by David Gilbert, a Wisconsin transfer, who retired from football last spring after undergoing foot surgery. Had a ruptured ligament in his right foot, the same foot that he broke twice as an underclassman in Madison. Part of 3 consecutive Big Ten championship teams. He thought he was done playing. His health slowly improved. Brett Bielema left for Arkansas. Gary Anderson showed up in Madison, and he said, I'd like to continue playing, and maybe I'd like to be in Miami. That's not a bad free agent pickup for the Canes. In a weak side blitz, pops the ball free. Miami has it, and it's Gilbert who comes up with the free football. Casey Rogers delivered the punch to knock it free.
How glad is Al Golden he made that phone call now? You get depth, you get size, and you get production out of David Gilbert. Coming off the edge, he does a nice job of getting on the football. Big hit by Casey Rogers on the blitz. That was a field side blitz by the safety, and David Gilbert gets on the forced fumble.
4th sack by the U tonight. Gilbert introducing himself to his new teammates. Dallas Crawford is the running back. Great vision, and he is in. Touchdown, Miami. First touchdown of his Miami career, and it cost Crawford a shoe.
That's a little price to pay to get in the end zone. That's a nice job by that offensive line, taking advantage of what the defense gave them inside the red zone. They set the table. Big hit by Rodgers, picked up by Gilbert. And then Duke Johnson's replacement does the rest in Clemens.
Gudis punches it through with 1:06 to go in the third. Sebastian is happy. This doesn't happen without the sack.
The pressure off the edge, it's been consistent all night long from the secondary. Casey Rodgers gets the forced fumble, tees up the offense inside the 5-yard line, and then it's an easy waltz into the end zone. Crawford doing the damage, cleaning up. After Duke Johnson's absence, it's been Clemens and Crawford on the ground for the U.
Owls came in as big underdogs from the goal line. This is Martese Jackson, and he takes it out near the 15-yard line.
Sun Life Stadium.
On first down, a mad scramble to get past the 20 to the 22-yard line. 12 possession of the game, 11 of them have started inside their own 25. Started at Kansas State. Pelini was a graduate assistant in 1989. They ended a 27-game losing streak. Since Snyder was meticulous, is detail-oriented, and he was able to instill a sense of family and team, and that's Pelini's goal. All Miami here tonight at Sun Life Stadium. Florida Atlantic looking at a 1st and 10, trying to find something to build on. Jaquez Johnson pressured, another sack for the Miami defense, and it's 5th of the night. Ufama Kamalu and David Gilbert
Miami wins football games. They get chunk yardage plays by their skilled athletes on the outside, forced turnovers defensively. And remember, last year they had a number of games offensively they were able to put points on the board. All 7 wins, they scored at least 30 points.
Jensen Stoshak, the former walk-on from Jacksonville, Florida, with the catch against Miami zone. That sets up a 3rd down. Quick snap again over the middle. Pardon me, had a wide receiver going over the middle. He threw it outside.
Do it under the lights, and we've seen that. Those are some of the corrections we'll see from week 1 to week 2.
9th punt of the game for Sean Kelly. Not a great one, but he had some room to make a mistake. Here's Stacy Coley out to the 33-yard line. Damian Parms with the tackle. Miami in control. 1st and 10 for the Canes, and they've switched quarterbacks. Ryan Williams, the Memphis transfer, is now under center. And they keep it on the ground on 1st down.
Protected. He'll do that behind this big offensive line.
He threw for better than 2,000 yards at Miramar High School, and he fires a rocket outside, complete to Rashawn Scott, who scrambles for a couple of yards.
No players around him. Get to know different terminology. Make it feel like it was his team, and that's valuable in case something happens to Morris.
Williams gets sucked under at the 26-yard line. First sack of the night for FAU, and it's Corey Henry who comes up with it. Senior from Opelika, Florida, had 2 sacks last year.
See, Tom, you start talking about sacks, and there you go. You talked him into a sack there.
I just saw you duck.
I did.
Cincinnati transfer, grew up a Canes fan. That one got tipped at the line. And it will trickle to the 40 where it's scooped up. And they're going to say you can't advance that one down at the 41-yard line. This is DJ Justy in at quarterback, and he calls his own number for a gain of about 7. Tyrone Cornelius with the stop. ACC pre self-inflicted. Self-imposed, I should say. This is Justy again to nearly midfield.
Tom, every team that has where they want to be, they're going to have to take big strides in a hurry because they have a SEC opponent in Florida coming to town next week.
You know, one of the things that was really interesting, this will bring up 4th down for Florida Atlantic. We saw the ACC preseason poll. And for Miami, offensive coordinator Gene Winston was a tremendous baseball player. And on signing day, Florida State thought maybe they would lose him to Major League Baseball. He was a 15th round pick of the Rangers. Had a great punt that time. And we started talking quarterbacks and baseball with Coley. You're looking at Miami's offensive coordinator James Coley, first year calling plays here since coming down from Florida State. He told us he likes baseball players at quarterback because baseball is a thinking game. Ryan Williams, the backup quarterback, under center, and Gus Edwards, a freshman running back in there. It surprised me a little bit when he gets so excited talking about Stephen Moore's having a baseball background, but you agreed immediately.
Well, it's something in baseball you always have to think one pitch ahead or one play ahead. If you're playing third base or shortstop and there's a guy on first and first and second, the ball's hit to the bag, am I going to get the ball, tag the bag, throw the first? You're always thinking a play ahead. If you're the outfielder, if I'm going to hit the cutoff man, where am I going with the ball if it's hit? Because you have one sport athletes year round. But primarily quarterbacks are those guys that are playing shortstop and catcher or third base, playing primary positions on the baseball team.
There goes Gus Edwards, a freshman running back, takes it to the 30. They're excited about this kid, 6'2", 225 pounds, from Staten Island. He was going to be wearing orange anyway, originally committed to Syracuse. And oddly enough, it was Coley's recruiting at Florida State that got him to Miami, because after committing to Syracuse, he took an official visit to Tallahassee. And Coley, they struck up a relationship when that coaching change was made. He ended up here in Miami. Christian Milstead with the time and on target.
We like him because he's a natural thrower of the football. And I think he's trying to work on raising the ball position.
Williams, nice touch to the outside, and that is caught at the 2-yard line by Rashawn Scott. Scott is injured after falling on his shoulder making that catch.
Yeah, he immediately grabbed that left shoulder. Perfect throw by Ryan Williams. You couldn't set it out here any better. Nice air on the football to the outside shoulder, one-handed grab. That's pretty.
And that's just a shame for Scott. He had his best practice of the fall within the last week. They're going to take another look at this play from upstairs, and you hate to see him come off the field like that.
Especially with the score 34-6. Game in hand by the Hurricanes. Let's take another look, see if this is inbounds. He extends that left hand. He gets the elbow down, controls the football. That's a good play. The ACC and the votes and where everybody thinks Miami's going to end up at the end of the year, and you want to be a part of that.
This is the freshman Gus Edwards, and he gave the football up reaching for the end line. The line judge says he's down. Randall Johnson ended up with the football in the end zone. So 2nd and goal.
Gus Johnson trying to make a big play. Big hit inside the 1-yard line, but again, the elbow down. He's going to get another opportunity.
And he gets popped at the 2, spins around, and then gets taken down again at the 4. Brandon Bryant was the first man to hit him. And on for Florida Atlantic. Here's Edwards. Cut it back and reaches for the goal line. Harms is there to make the stop. He was the last man on the field.
I just think you keep it on the ground and you try to execute the play on the ground.
Here's the freshman again, another crack at it, and finally it pays off.
I don't think he got in, Tom.
I thought he was in, and they didn't give him a good spot. Well, Edwards just learned a lesson. You better get all the way in.
It wasn't a lack of effort by Edwards. That's just a nice four-play stand by Carl Pelini's defense. Let's take another look, see if he breaks the plane of the goal line with that football.
Of course.
Sure does look like for a minute before they turned the shoulders, that ball was breaking the plane, but both linesmen running in saying no.
He got turned around, and Miami's been turning FAU around all night. 5:44 to go, 34-6. 34-6, Miami leads FAU. Owls trying to work out of their own end zone. Rashawn Scott was just taken off the field with ice on his left collarbone. From inside the 1, room to run. Now let's go down to the sideline of Weisbrod, who was right there with a close look.
And standing behind Rashawn Scott, you could tell he was just in a lot of pain. It took him a long time just to get his helmet off, and in fact they had to cut his jersey off. Then they iced him, and Dr. Lee Kaplan, along with Vinny Scavo, the head athletic trainer, evaluated him, got the jersey off, and sent him off to get x-rays.
Brooke, thanks. You got to cut the jersey off because you can't get the shoulder pads off with the jersey on it if you can't lift your arm above your shoulder. Yeah, that's a frustrating way to end your night. Terrific catch inside the 5-yard line. 2nd and 4. And a rumble up the middle for Jonathan Wallace tonight. Florida Atlantic entered with 3 quarterbacks. That's a big pop. Nixendorf-Billis was greeted by Alex Figueroa. That's the 2nd or 3rd time Figueroa has been able to come out of that linebacker position and deliver a hit and take down either a ball carrier or a pass receiver in the open field. It's a true freshman. Spent a year at a semester, I should say, at prep school. Lightly recruited kid out of Stafford, Virginia. Here's Martese Jackson to the edge, and good footwork keeps him inbounds for a 1st down. Football down the field and spread out this offense. Make it bigger than it appears. Johnson will scramble and cuts it back. No whistle yet. So how do you do that? Especially, they have the size and the speed on the outside. They just haven't utilized it. No one in uniform tonight had taken a Division I snap at quarterback until the night started. And remember, if you weren't with us at the beginning, Carl Pelini suspended 5 players, including last year, all suspended for a violation of team rules. Howard, we understand, has been suspended 3 games, the other 4 1 game, as he tries to instill discipline into this program and continue to instill discipline. We prepare, he said. Wallace empties out of the backfield. Over the middle, incomplete for a 1st down for the Owls, and Melvin German with the catch. And that's what you like to see out of this offense. You're going to have the quarterback rely. Less than a minute and a half to go tonight from Miami. Wallace takes a pass midfield into the 45, a pickup of 8 on 1st down for the Owls. And Florida Atlantic uses a timeout. So coming up next, maybe the biggest game of the season for Miami. And certainly a big game for the ACC. And it's a game that's not on the schedule after this year, Tom. Top preseason ranked team on the schedule as the Gators come in a week from tomorrow. 11th ranked Florida State. We'll see the Canes come to town November 2nd. extra day help Al Golden prepare for the Gators?
Absolutely. You take advantage of some rest, you get healthy, you study what went wrong tonight in a 34-6 victory. Catch the football, execute better offensively, get a little tougher up front, because the challenge is going to be bigger and stronger next week when the Gators come to town. Different body types are going to be coming into Sun Life Stadium to face the Miami Hurricanes.
2nd and 2. Good coverage downfield by the Canes. You know, they gave Will Muschamp a couple things to think about, didn't they? Especially with the reverse.
Execute and clean up a lot of things in all 3 phases if we're going to win the football game next week.
That was Artie Burns on the coverage a moment ago. First down carry for Jaquez Johnson. I thought we might see Deion Bush in the game tonight, especially once it got in hand. He had to jump in against the Gators for the sophomore defensive back.
I like the decision of holding him out, only because I think you have a couple of players at that position in Casey Rogers and Highsmith that play at a high level, and Bush is kind of like the changeup guy. I agree with it. I think he's a more polished quarterback going this year and at the next level.
Johnson wants to throw, looks deep down the sideline and batted away at the last second. Great coverage by Artie Burns, is showing what he can do all over Jensen Stoshak. The lead is 28 for Miami. ESPNU High School Football Showcase is coming up next. The Hoover High Bucks, that legendary program, will be featured along with Colquitt County in Georgia. Complete to the 25-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 26 to William Dukes. 3rd and 5. That won't go down as a sack, but they get to the quarterback. Jelani Hamilton made the play. They want to spike it, but it's 4th down. And so that'll turn it over on downs. So mistake made on the Florida Atlantic sideline, but it would have been tough to get a final playoff anyway.
Yeah, those are the things that you want to iron out going from week 1 to week 2. All teams make the most improvement from week 1 to week 2, and that's on the field and off the field. He's a freshman. He's one of those guys that were nicked up middle of the 2nd quarter, early 3rd quarter. I think they'll lean on Justy to be that athlete. They'll move him to wide receiver. They'll move him to slot, play a little quarterback in the red zone. I think they'll end up going with probably 2 guys.
Ryan Williams takes a final knee. Al Golden starts off his 3rd season with the win. The promising season gets off to the right foot for Miami. The Gators are coming in next. That's it from Miami, where the Canes take care of business 34-6. Up next is the Geico ESPN High School Football Showcase.